Hi guys, welcome to this channel. Today I wanted to discuss more about the Ma people. Ma meaning the people speaking Ma languages, which is mainly the Maasai. Here you see the Maasai in Kenya. Then the Maasai also live in Tanzania, northern Tanzania. But there are other Ma speakers, mainly separated during the 1870s Maasai Great War, following with the 1890s epidemics of diseases and droughts, and following again by British settlement in the Laikipia Plateau in the beginning of 1900s. And there are quite a few. If you look at the Maasais, this is not 100% accurate map, but it is quite good still. And you look at the Maasais, are a united people because of the culture of circumcision, of keeping cows, and so many things. But they are also having subgroups, dividing them into regional organized groups, I would say, with their own loibon, with their own warriors and leaders for the warrior system, and leaders for the age groups and own age groups. And there are quite many in Kenya alone. As you see, the main ones are Puruko, Kekonyuke, Matapatu, and there are many other small ones. And all these, they share the language very, very near. And then when you go in the upper area, in the northern territory of the Ma speakers, you'll find there are again different groups here that speak Ma, and the main one is the Samburu, and this is the area where most Samburu is, although they live Samburu in northern Laikipia and in Isiolo area. This is Isiolo area, and the language is quite different from the Maasai. And they have been separated for quite some time, at least 200 years or much more, in terms of how they speak, and they do have some differences also culturally, but according to those studying the language, and also right now there is a Bible translation in Samburu and this Bible translation in Ilchamus, and they're saying, the Bible translators, they're saying maybe 60% of the language is the same as Maasai, only changing a little bit with some words. Samburus do not use O in the beginning of words, and Maasais do that. Now, there are mainly 4 groups, I would say. It's the Samburu is the biggest one, who are about 300,000 speakers, or maybe 300,000 could be all of these people together. But there are about that number living in Samburu and Isiolo and Marsabit mainly, and Laikipia. Following Samburu, we have Vilchamus, who are very related to Samburu in terms of language and how they dress and how they have their age groups and warriors, and many things are very, very similar. And Vilchamus is around 30 to 40,000 in population, and they are situated around Lake Baringo, from Marigat up to Laikipia, surrounding Lake Baringo and going up to a place called Mukutani, that is a permanent river coming down, and then you have Parkera in Marigat, and that is also a permanent river. So they are Ma speakers who have not really moved from this place for at least 200 years. And they're very related to Samburu, but they also have some difference. So in Samburu, the main cultural economic activity is livestock, and in the highlands plateau they've been keeping cows, but in the more drier places like Wamba, Barsaloi, Baragoi, Sautor, they have more been having goats and even camels, while in Vilchamus they've been one of the agricultural Ma-speaking societies. So they've been using the seasonal rivers, Parkera and Mukutani, especially for growing crops, millets especially, and then they have also been fishing, which is a taboo in Samburu. So they are very similar, but they also have some distinct things. Like for Samburu, fishing is a taboo, while in Vilchamus it is okay. And Vilchamus keep cows, sheep and goats, but they did not keep camels. And then you have another small group called El Molo, who have been living on the lakeside and even on some islands of Lake Turkana, and they're also speaking a very related language to Samburu. There are very few, there are only a few hundred, and they are now assimilating into Samburu culture, more and more disappearing as a separate people. But they have also been fishing, making them separate in culture from Samburu. And then you have Rendile, which is a totally different Cushitic culture, while Samburu and the Ma speakers are seen to be a Nilotic culture. Rentile is a Cushitic one that has a very different culture and language, but this is not accurate. But it's just to portray that some parts of it, or even half of it, has changed and assimilated into Samburu culture in ways of circumcision, warriorhood, and lifestyle and language, while keeping a few things that is specific to Rendile, like the way they have their beads. So these are the groups that share a Nordic Ma language that is related to Maasai, but it is not 100% Maasai. It is maybe just 60%. And then we have also within Samburu, you've had the Robo tribes living with their own language and speaking Samburu. So you have had the Sue, and you have had other groups in Lorogi forest who have been hunter and gatherers, mainly surviving on honey from the forest, having honey hives and trading it with the Samburu. But they have also assimilated now into Samburu culture very much. And then you have a place in this map, it is called Yaku, but it is mostly referred as Mukogodo, or in Maasai Mogogodo. And this is also a Maasai related area that is actually more Maasai in terms of language. So they also speak Ma, like the Maasai. And they are much more linguistic close, maybe 90% or more to the Maasai, and they also differ like 60% to the Samburu. And this area is it's a very complex group of people, because it is a mixture of different groups that have joined together because of different issues to say they are one. And now there's some of the groups want to divide themselves again and to say they are not one but different groups. But they speak really Maasai, and and to me, when I've been in the area and the ones I know, when they speak, to me it resembles the Purko dialect from the Maasai. Which might not be so strange, because Purko was the one inhabiting the area of Laikipia, and were the one moved by the British administration in the beginning of 1900s, 20th century, and they were inhabiting actually the area from Nakuru, Naivasha, and Benaderis, and then the Laikipia. This is the original Laikipia Plateau, according to the maps, and then this is North Nyeri, and they were also inhabiting North Nyeri. So it is not strange that these guys speak Apurku dialect, because those are the last ones that lived in that area. But Mugogodo Masais are really like a mixture of many different groups, and they are not many in number. They are about 10,000, and they live along the forest of Mugogodo, and then they have also some ranches, conservancies, group conservancies in the Laikipia. And these guys, according to Samburu, they are Eldorobo groups, or Dorobo groups, or Dorobo people. But when you really look into it, that doesn't really say much, because to the Maasai and Samburu, Dorobo is just a name. It can be someone speaking Ma that does not have cows. So you can have all aspects of being part of the culture, but you don't have livestock. You might have been circumcised that way. You might have be speaking that way. You might have the beads and everything, just like a Samburu or just like a Maasai. But because you're not having animals, you're considered Dorobo. And these groups originally they call themselves Yaku, which is now a real Dorobo original group that were living on honey and hunting. And then you have Imwesi groups, Ildigiri and Ilmunyot groups, who have a very complex history, because it is very likely these guys are remnants now of the Laikipia, who were actually destroyed for most part by the Maasai groups of Purko and Ilkesongo, as well as Samburu, and were assimilated into those groups. But there's possibility that some remained hidden in the national, nowadays a national park, but hidden in the, hiding themselves in the forest of Mount Kenya, and then not having animals at the time when the British administration were trying to like divide people into groups and making them to be Dorobo. But it seems they are very, very Maasai-like, and even nowadays they don't, those groups of the Laikipia Maasai, they don't really do much to do with hunting, gathering, and honeybee hives, but really they have a Maasai related culture, and nowadays they have livestock. So there's really a small amount of Ilaikipiak, or remnants of the Maasai living in these plains. So they are very different from the Samburu, and sometimes they are at war. And these groups have assimilated Samburu, as well as this group has also gone to Samburu to be assimilated. So they are related, but they are not related. Yes, And I wanted as well to show another map here where you can see this is now Baringo, Laikipia, and Samburu areas. And here you can see during drought and during rains. And these areas are very actually close together and were separated by what happened with the war, with the epidemic, and then by the British administration. And you find this area you have Ilchamus and Samburu are in this place, and then they go down to this side, and then they graze in these areas where you also have some abandoned ranches, and then you have the Mogogodo forest, and then this area is also for those Laikipia Maasais, and then the Samburus in this area. And in terms of area, this really have been like one big grazing area.